what the interests of people are and try to balance them, because that's what legislation should be all about.
What you have to look at is how the light rail has transformed Charlotte.
We always want to be out front, showing what can be done.
We govern best when more people have a voice.
Thank you for watching the show. You be encouraged. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome.
Find out what the interests of people are and try to balance them, because that's what legislation should be all about.
What you have to look at is how the light rail has transformed Charlotte.
We always want to be out front, showing what can be done.
We govern best when more people have a voice.
Thank you for watching the show. You be encouraged. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Paul Brown Show. This evening, my guest will be Lieutenant Colonel Darryl Owens, and he's the commander at West Charlotte Junior ROTC program. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well.
Great. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, like you said, my name is Darryl Owens, and I'm the senior Army instructor over at West Charlotte High School, JROTC. And I've been there about 5 years, and a background, retired from the military in 2008, 21 years as an officer. And prior to that, I was enlisted for 4 years, and got out and went to school, and joined the ROTC and got commissioned and went back in again. So traveled around the world, done a lot of things, and now I'm here sitting down talking to you.
I applaud you, sir. What, in your opinion, is the objective of the Junior Army ROTC program?
Well, the purpose is to make better citizens of young men and women, to provide them with a platform where they can become good leaders, learn about the country, learn about the sacrifice of those before them, and really give them opportunity to lead and be led.
Okay. I know they say that y'all have a new uniform. Do your cadets, are they able to wear the new uniforms? Or?
They are. I think this will be our second or third year with the new uniform.
Okay.
Before that, we had the Army green uniform. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I mean, it was kind of an olive green.
Yes, sir.
Top and bottom, but now we have the lighter blue pants, a dark blue jacket, and it's a white shirt that we are wearing now.
Okay. What are your expectations from the students, the cadets?
Well, I expect them to follow our regime. We have a set regime that we have them do when, say, they come in the morning. There's a set process and procedure. We have a structure where they're leaders within the battalion. We have a battalion commander, executive officer, command sergeant major, and then all the staff officers. And then the other members of the battalion need to adhere to whatever direction they're given by those leaders. And you know, and one of the things I like to tell them is as long as it's, you know, not illegal, immoral, or unethical, then you need to follow that direction. And it takes a while because those are their peers that are directing them. And some have a little tougher time making that adjustment to have someone their same age giving them direction. But they usually fall in line. If not, the three instructors, we help with that process.
Okay. Being that you've been in the military for so long, what inspired you, Colonel Owens, to want to go into the military?
Well, initially, I didn't have any intentions of going into the military. My senior year of high school, I like to tell this story. My uncle, who was about 9 months older than I, came to me, we were in the high school together, and said, hey, what do you think? Let's join the Army under the buddy program. And I said, nah, I'm not interested in joining the Army. I'm not going to do that. And he says, okay. And this was in January. In April, started getting close to the graduation. I thought, I have to do something. Didn't have the money for college. I knew I wanted to go to college, but I didn't have the money. So I went back to him and I said, hey, what do you think? Still thinking about going into the Army? And he said, absolutely not. I'm not interested. So I said, okay, I'm going in. And so the primary purpose of me going into the Army initially was to get money for college. I wanted to buy myself a car, and I wanted to travel. And in the first 4 years, I was able to accomplish all of those.
Was the experience what you expected?
Yes. You know what? I didn't have a lot of background, even though I had some uncles and my grandfather, my great uncle all served in the military. They didn't talk about a lot, so I didn't really know what to expect. And I was in the Boy Scouts, so I knew a little bit about, the maneuvers and movements, and so I knew some, but I didn't know. I went in as an open canvas, a blank canvas, and turned out to be one of the best decisions I ever made.
As a young student who's thinking about, who's working in the ROTC program and all that, do they really know what to expect once they putting on that uniform and in the future becoming an officer in the United States Army?
We try to give them experiences. We go down to Fort Jackson annually, and they get an opportunity to interact with soldiers down there and kind of see how things operate. We go down to Fort Bragg annually, and then some of the cadets, not a smaller number of the cadets, get to go down to Fort Jackson for a week, and they live in barracks. They get out, they do PT, they do rappelling, they do obstacle courses, they do all these things that are very similar to what a young soldier in basic training would be doing. So they get a little bit of a feel for that in a controlled environment with all the instructors from around the Southeast. So it's a great experience for them.
Why is it so important for them to learn about teamwork?
Oh, teamwork is critical, no matter whether you're in the military, no matter you're in corporate America, wherever you are, because it's difficult for any one person to do anything of substance by themselves. You need lots of people to be successful, and to be able to work as a part of a team is critical because the individual impact on a team can be very positive or it can be very negative. So the sooner they learn that, the better off it is for everyone.
Being that you've been in that military, how was it like being the leader of your first platoon?
That was fantastic. Kind of frightening.
Yes, sir.
Because I was in Germany, Hanau, Germany at the time.
Okay.
And this was during the Cold War, back in the 80s. And so we had a real mission. I mean, we thought at any time we could have the Russians coming through,
correct,
coming down. And so we trained hard, and it was a lot of responsibility taking those soldiers out on maneuvers and having them, under my direction.
Correct.
And literal directions, navigating the autobahns and going back through the forest areas where we would train. So a lot of responsibility. But the good thing about it is you do it as a member of the team. I was a member of a team. I had certain responsibilities. I had a platoon sergeant, I had squad leaders, I had team members, team leaders. So there's a lot of responsibility broken up. So it wasn't overwhelming once I figured out what my role was. And big help came from my platoon sergeant in that respect, kind of letting me know as a young lieutenant, hey, this is what you do. So And that's how it's been operating for, centuries.
Why is it so important for that young officer to be able to listen to that platoon sergeant's advice, instructions that they're going to be providing?
That's absolutely vital. I've seen, unfortunately, some of my fellow classmates or peers at the time had kind of was strong-minded and thought they knew everything. And that platoon sergeant usually has 15 years
Correct.
of experience, have been there, done that, and they've seen the mistakes, they've seen the things that work well, and it just behooves that young lieutenant to listen and learn from that that platoon sergeant, and it'll make their lives a lot easier than it would if they didn't listen to him. And I learned that early on. I had a great platoon sergeant starting out,
sir.
and that paid dividends throughout my career.
I know you did a lot of traveling. Why is it so exciting for the traveling that you get while in the military?
I don't know. It was one of the things that I just had a bug as a young man, as a child actually. I was fortunate. My great uncle and my great aunt were teachers, and they traveled every summer. So I'd get the opportunity some summers to go with them wherever they were going, and it just opened my eyes to what was available out in the world. In the United States, we never traveled outside of the United States, but in the United States, and it gave me a perspective that some of my friends back in my small town where I grew up didn't have. So they didn't get that perspective of the world that showed them that there's a lot more than in this little town, and it just made me hunger for more. So that just early on, I got that bug for travel. And the Army was perfect for that, because over the years I've been to a lot of countries, been to a lot of cities, been to a lot of places that I would have preferred not to have gone, but great, all of them great experience. Whether they're good places, bad places, they're all great experience, and it's all helped me to become the person that I am now.
I know you've been in the military for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. Have you ever been in a wartime situation, and if so, describe that feeling?
Not actual, exchanging gunfire. I've been in some places, in Somalia with Black Hawk Down. I was in Mogadishu when that took place. Traveling on the roadways in Iraq and in Kuwait. In Afghanistan. So again, not in direct combat, but in situation, took fire on a convoy going into Iraq. So some experiences, and that's a pretty hairy experience, when you're not knowing, and especially in Iraq, driving along and with the roadside bombs, IEDs, and it just gives you a great appreciation for life. I think your senses are heightened, and you just enjoy things, I think, a little more than some people may take for granted.
And I applaud you for the work that you did for us as officer in the military.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And you brought the sons and daughters of a family member back. And I think that's the main objective that we look for, especially as an officer. You're that leader. You're that one that has that final say, and you're the one in charge. Why should a parent think real good about having their child join ROTC program?
ROTC, or the JROTC especially, gives the child structure, coming in, there's set ways of doing everything, and it just gives them the planning. They have to think ahead. It helps them with their studying. It helps them with interacting with others, you know, learning how to be a member of a team.